podcast, people. I'm your host. My name is James Kittison.
And I'm John Steinkleber. And this week on That Story Show, Kyrie's teenage volunteer makes yellow ice. Ooh. Nathan's friends see a demon in the woods. Julia throws off her Thai waitress. What? Marshall exposes his homeschool charm. And Lori's husband launches fireworks indoors.
Oh, no. You never know what you're going to get with this show. You never know. Well, we always start with an opening story, so let's get right into it. This first one's from Kyrie from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Puddle problem. This summer, I worked as a camp counselor at a summer camp for a group of teenage volunteers who helped out in the kitchen. I love my kids to death, but you know teenagers, they often get into some shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
She spelled that correctly. Hats off.
That's a hard word to spell.
Yeah, there's people at my work that have a habit of if you use a word like shenanigans, then you have to spell it.
Makes good sense.
So I avoid using words like shenanigans because how in the flip, anyway. And all the craziest things happened on my day off. But anyway, one day I was off and two girls, teenagers, wanted some Italian ice popsicles from the walk-in freezer. After getting permission, they went to the freezer to get their snack, and one of the girls apparently made the most hilarious joke in the world because the other girl started to pee. I've heard of...
In the freezer?
Yeah, I've heard of females threatening to pee. I've never actually heard of somebody let it go. But apparently it happened to this girl. One of the girls made the joke, and the other one made the wet. In fact, she peed so much that a small puddle formed on the floor in the walking freezer, in the freaking freezer. So it gets so much worse because the pee froze to the ground.
In the freezer.
In the freezer. They both ran out and got one of their leaders, and she told them to get a rag and water to clean up the mess. However, after trying to wipe it up with the wet rag, the rag also got frozen to the ground.
It's a lot of pee.
So,
wow. That must have been a funny joke.
Go get hot water. And after pouring some of that onto the crime scene, they were able to clean up their mess. Needless to say, they probably never went back into that freezer. But on the bright side, they still got their Italian ices. Yeah, but were they lemon flavored? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Because when we get Italian ice, it's always either lemon or it's that
you just have to scrape it with a spoon to get it up,
I almost got it.
Tastes a little salty. I don't understand.
Come on, man.
So bad. I didn't know about Italian ices until I was like a grown man.
Yeah, same. I don't think it exists. Well, see, it did exist when we were younger. We just called them frozen high C boxes.
Oh.
You ever do that when you were a kid? You stick... They were juice boxes. They were the original Capri Suns,
too poor for juice boxes.
No, sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know how we got them in my house, but
Italian ice. I had a girlfriend that was into them, and I was like, "Where has this been all my life?" I'm like, "Wherever they kept the juice boxes, apparently." So,
well, it wasn't real Italian ice, but that's what it was for us.
Yeah, but you scrape it off and you eat it, and at the bottom, if it's melted a little, it's crystallized, and it's super, super awesome.
Now, real Italian ice, that's good stuff.
Totally different.
Totally different. But the Luigi's or whatever we get in the grocery store, that's
it's passable, man. It's good stuff. It's probably like 1 fluid ounce of water that they've turned into something tasty, and you got to work for it. So you're just like, this is a wonderful treat. But not a lot of filler. It's not filling you up really.
No, it's just like a little wet your whistle kind of thing.
A little sugar water.
Sugar water.
Churned a little bit different. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think I pronounced, what did you say your name? Kyrie?
Yeah, Kyrie.
I think I said Kylie. I apologize. In the opening preview of the stories.
It's all right. We already established that Kyrie has a Gen Z name, and she deserves to have it mispronounced her entire life. And she sent in another story in spite of that. So
I want to know what the joke was that made her friend laugh so hard.
I know. What could it be? What could it be?
I'm not good at jokes.
Let me see. I
wasn't a dad joke, that's for sure.
Heard one earlier. I don't remember what it was. but I can tell one anyway. Did you hear about the restaurant in space? It has
No.
great food, but terrible atmosphere.
I don't feel the need to wet my pants on the funniness of that joke. No offense.
No. It's got to be a lot better than that.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just stop and forget that I ever told that and rewind the week.
We keep that.
All right. So who wants to go first?
Bad atmosphere.
Tell a little something about from the last 7 days or so.
I got something that happened 5 days ago. I had to do some math.
There you go. Well, and meets the criteria.
And well, there we go. And this is a little bit of a visual. So if you're joining us online right now while we're recording, then you get to see this. But for all of our audio listeners, which is 100% of you, I'm gonna explain this.
Right.
So, James, I'm gonna pull up on my screen an image. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And it's our church's Family Fall Fest or Fall Family Fest.
It's like a slideshow frame.
Yeah, it's a slideshow frame. It looks like something you'd probably grab off of Canva. In fact, I'm gonna say it probably is pulled off of Canva, and it's very fall looking. It's got the wood background and the
wood
orange and yellow, and it's got the
leaves
information
and stuff.
Yeah,
Fall Family Fest.
Fall Family Fest. Well, I was running the media on Sunday, and I'm looking at this picture, and I'm like, "There's something weird about that picture." And James, if you look right here. Do you notice that leaf?
That's got too many fronds on it.
There's an interestingly shaped leaf on that side. Isn't that strange? Now, I'm not going to say exactly what.
It's not an oak leaf.
It's not an oak leaf, and I can confirm that because this is what an oak leaf could look like, right?
It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little
maybe.
areas that come off the center. Yeah, it looks like a Canadian flag.
Right.
Basically.
It looks very Canada-ish.
It's a leaf.
It's a maple leaf, and it's got the fall colors on it. And then the other leaf that's actually on the Family Fall Fest, the Fall Family Fest flyer, it looks like this.
It's a marijuana leaf.
Yeah. So on that flyer, it's even though it's got the fall colors on it, it looks like a marijuana leaf.
It is the same thing. It's exactly what it is. They didn't know. The church person didn't know, or they did, and they're awesome. But I don't think they knew.
I don't think they did either.
They were in Jesus world so long that they don't know. They just thought it was a fall leaf.
They thought it was a fall leaf. My thought is that maybe they went on Canva or something, and they just picked up a template. And there's somebody who created this template with that leaf on there, thought, I'm going to get a bunch of churches and they're going to get in so much trouble when they use this because it looks like it could almost pass as a maple leaf, but it's not.
It's so not.
And I want to,
what kind of family fest are you having there, John, at your church? Games, inflatables, and weed.
Yeah, munchies for everyone.
Games and ganja.
Golly, that sounds like a St. Louis thing.
Inflatables and edibles. Just doing everything.
No, well, so I noticed this like pre-service, and I'm sitting next to the guy who's running the live stream, and I was like, "Hey, what is this? What does this slide look like to you? Do you notice anything on that?" And this guy's a retired band teacher, and so he's had years with public school kids, and he's like, "Well, that looks like a pot leaf." And then he noticed the time on there. It's supposed to be from 4:30 to 7. He said, maybe they need to change the time to 4:20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good that there's going to be food there because everybody's going to be a little hungry after they have the fun.
Yeah. Well, they must have had a good time. And
I think I'm going to come out. When is it? October 20th? I'll be there.
Sorry. Yeah. Go get a time machine.
Oh,
dude.
It's already
this happened. Is the flyer. They put this on a big banner, a few big banners, and they put them around the church on a busy highway.
And it had this freaking leaf in it?
Yeah, with the leaf on it. Everything.
That's beautiful. And God laughs.
Oh, man.
Love it. Love it.
I'm sure it was an accident.
Oh, I love it so much. Thank you, John, for your show and tell weekly update this week.
Thanks. Show and
you
tell.
You did fantastic.
And I'm guessing if people want to see this, they could probably catch it on the YouTube later.
Yep. Look up episode 485 and you'll see it live. But I think we did a pretty good job of explaining it. All right. So I've been working at work on this new project, and it's like a help desk that I'm having to populate with information because the company in question tries to use Discord instead of Slack. Because Slack costed them money. So they're on Discord and they're trying to disseminate information and help and videos, and it is a wreck. They are doing a terrible job. So for our customers, we created our own help desk, and it's been my job to go and cut and paste the title of every video, organize it, and link to it. And I've done 22 individual pages full of these links. But I realized that I made a mistake the other day because there's all these names that we use in the printing industry that I have no idea what they mean. I'm actually told a salesman, I'm like, you need to take me downstairs 10 minutes a day and just teach me, because I don't know what a shaker baker is, but it's something to do with something. There's an
Can you
oven.
help?
Huh?
Yeah, a shake and bake, and I helped.
Yeah.
It's an old commercial. Nobody got that joke.
There's an oven, like I said. It's all has to do with DTF printing, direct to film printing. But I thought I had seen all of the inside baseball on those, but I cut and paste the title in and then go to get the link, and it's like, how to tell if you have a bad dumper. And I laughed to myself because I'm like, that's funny because it's called a dumper. Apparently something's being dumped into it.
Yeah.
But this could be good advice for any of us, how to tell if you have a bad dumper. And I was kind of laughing to myself. That's another name for a butt, a dumper. And then I go to paste the URL in and I look at it again and it's the damper. I have no idea what a damper is, but it suddenly became very unfunny. And I just realized I have a dirty mind.
You wanted to see dumper.
I wanted to see a dumper. It seemed like it could be a part of a printer. Maybe it's where unused ink goes.
Yeah, you know? yeah. Like it's like a waste toner. It's perfect.
I mean, there's something called a shaker. Maybe it shakes out stuff and whatever falls in goes into the dumper, but no, it's a damper. And I know what dampers do in theory, but I have no idea what part they do in a printing solution. I have no idea. But yeah. The only other thing I have is an LBB.
One of the many tools of the devil.
All right, so my wife was at the park at Forest Park, which is where the World's Fair was back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, and now it's a giant park, and it's beautiful. The art museum's there. There's all kinds of fountains, and there's a few buildings that still lasted from that period.
Really?
So she has this place she stops for water on her miles of running. She runs miles, and like 3 to 5 miles every time she goes out there.
Daggum.
And she has this stop, where she stops and gets water. So she goes to run towards it. She's looking forward to it. But wouldn't you know, some lady has this giant dog on a leash. The dog has his hands up in the water thing. She's pushing the button for him, and he's drinking out of the water fountain. Let me just say that again, though. He's not drinking out of the water fountain. He's dog drinking out of the water fountain, which means he's lapping it up, licking all over the fixture that is supposed to launch water for humans up into the air. Now, all you dog lovers who make out with your dogs and kiss your dogs on the face, and you live by the creed that our mouths are dirtier than theirs, that's bullcrap, because I can't lick my own butt, okay? And if I could, I wouldn't need podcasting.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't. Okay.
But,
just
but anyway, you're probably saying that's no problem because nobody will know any different. But it does matter because dogs can lick their own tush and it's gross. Okay. It's gross. It's made for people. If your dog needs water, but be the responsible dog owner and bring a little cup or a little bowl and a little bit of water.
Or just lead them to the toilet. They'll drink out of that too.
Or there's a lake right there. Just take them down to the lake. Let them lap it up. I don't know. So anyway, my wife did not drink out of it, and she's kind of tainted toward the whole thing. Because once the thing has been used by a thing, it becomes part of that thing. So gross.
That's a dog water fountain from here on out.
That's
from
right.
Now
dog
till
water.
eternity.
You're putting out dog water. You
it probably is connected to the toilet.
So there we go. We got a review brought to you by podgazement.com. Amazing podcast, says Generic Soap. Love those usernames. This podcast is amazing. It helps me fall asleep.
That's great.
And because you two, I always go to sleep with a smile on my face. Hey,
okay. Well,
they redeemed it.
So that we put people to sleep and they smile. That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Well, that means they never hear the recap song.
Oh, that's right.
I kind of worry about people missing the recap songs because if I were them, once I heard, oh, that's all the stories, I'd be like, okay, he's just going to talk about hats and keychains. He's going to say goodbye, and then they're going to play the outro.
You missed the whole outro. Yeah,
you missed the recap song every time you do that, folks. So listen all the way through to the end for the bonus content of the real show. So leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. It makes us really happy, and it really helps the show. Review.thatstoryshow.com is where you go. Guys, let's do some featured stories.
Let me tell y'all a story. Let me tell y'all a story.
All right, this one's from Nathan. It's called Demon Dots. Hi, ex-pastor dude and angel.
Which one is which?
Yeah, we're both ex-pastors.
And we're both angels.
I'm an angel of death. John wears a halo. My horns keep my halo up. So it's me, Nathan White, again with another story. This story takes place on a friend's back porch at nighttime. The porch had no lights, so it was almost completely dark, and my sister and a few friends and I were all sitting around and telling ghost stories. It's so great. One friend was telling us a story about this demon with red eyes that possessed little girls. They were going hardcore. I was just thinking about this. I can handle monster stories, because I know there's no such thing as monsters.
Right.
I can handle serial killer stories because there's been 5, and
million.
The chances are that they're not going to get around me, because I'm not a college student,
Right.
So
nothing about
or a young teenage boy. That seems to be the two target audiences for the serials of the killers. But demon stories, I believe in the deems, and
the demons. They're a little bit more scary.
Yeah, so I don't mess with demons. I don't talk about them. I'm not. I believe we have authority over them, obviously, but they're still scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's their whole purpose in life, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's sane. I mean, it was one of the biggest fears of my childhood was demons and the rapture.
Yeah, that's right. Because demons, if you sneeze funny, they're going to enter your body.
Yes.
And then you'll be possessed and you won't have any control.
And then you'll have to go to church and have them cast out, and you'll have to burp or poot or fart or puke or something to get them out. And then, every time your mom left something boiling on the stove, you're like, oh gosh, I got left behind. So anyway, one friend was telling a story about the demon-eyed person that possessed little girls. At the end of the story, the demon ended by getting sucked into a vacuum.
Oh no!
Vanished. Was this a Luigi's?
The Hoover got possessed.
Yeah. So everyone thought. Legend had it that the demon never left, of course. And it was hunting the same back porch that we were sitting on. Dun, dun, dun.
In the vacuum?
So, yeah. Cleaner? It somehow was kept in. It's like a ghost trap in Ghost Busters. We We laughed it off since the story was over, and one girl jokingly said, "What if we saw some red eyes for real right now?" And we laughed until my sister said in a panicked voice, "Like those?" And we turned around, and sure enough, there were two glowing red dots in the darkness staring straight at us. And that is right. That is why you don't play with demons right there.
That's right. They're just looking at you.
And they will just peek out at you. It's like an invitation. It's what happened. I mean, Exorcist started all because the girl was playing with a Ouija board. Don't you let them demons in, baby.
Don't touch the Ouija
we freaked
boards.
out naturally and ran inside, and we told the adults what happened, and they couldn't stop laughing because they were Satanists and they were looking forward to this moment in our growth and our journey toward the devil. No. Once they composed themselves, they explained that the glowing red eyes were actually a security camera. And we all laughed about it and went on with the evening. Anyway, I hope you like my story. I really hope it makes it on the show, Nathan.
It did. And you know what? The parents, after the kids went to bed, were like, we don't have any security cameras.
We need to pray. We need to get some olive oil and sprinkle it around like holy water.
We're going to get the olive oil and put it in a pressure washer and clean the house with it.
Hose it down.
Okay, so everything out of this place.
Since we're talking about Christian scaredy cat stuff, my friend Amy, she used to be a pastor on staff with me, and she was scared, like always, even as an adult, she was scared. And I asked her one time, I'm like, "Why are you so scared?" She says, "Maybe it has something to do with my dad." And I'm like, "Well, wow."
Blame it on your dad. I mean, that's what we usually do, right?
Probably is your dad's fault if you're so hyped about it. And I was like, "Well, what's the story there?" She says, "Well, I was in my room one time and the window was dark and you couldn't see out, except I saw these two green lights, these two green eye-shaped lights coming in. And I ran out and I told my dad, and he said, 'Oh, that was probably for some night vision goggles.'" And I laughed so hard, but she didn't even move. Her face was like solemn because this was PTSD time for her. And for me, it was hilarious. Her dad scarred her for life with this joke. And
probably night vision goggles.
It reminds me of how I used to pray with my children.
Oh no.
I'd be getting really snarky with them and they would act like they weren't scared of anything. And so I would pray with them and I'd say, "Dear Jesus, please bless them. Thank you for a fun day. And please don't let them get scared of the devil underneath their bed. In Jesus' name, amen." And they'd be like, "What?" But they never
under my bed, Dad.
They never called out in the night for anything. They never got scared. I think
never once?
Never once.
Oh, man.
The only time my daughter ever got scared was when she was in middle school and she was reading some lady's house of weird kids book. I don't even remember.
Lady's House of Weird Kids.
Yeah. And there was a character that was supposed to be dead. And this little boy was in the basement and he sees her and she stopped reading and got freaked out. And she called me in there and I said, "Baby, I know you're scared, but whatever it is, you've got to keep reading." And she did while I was standing there. And it turned out that the girl wasn't dead. He was just told she was, and it was a big joke. But she had stopped at the worst time, you know, and was living this truth. And
because her mind was making up everything, every scenario.
Speaking of every scenario, my friend Tracy's church, she went to youth group, and like most youth groups, she was told all about all the bad things that you shouldn't do. And the way they motivated her to tell others about Christ was they said that on your way to heaven, you will probably pass your closest 5 friends that you didn't tell about Jesus on their way to hell. And they will call out your name and say, "Why didn't you tell me about Jesus? Why didn't you tell me?" And this is like one of Tracy's biggest issues now. Like,
wow.
And I'm like, can I be one of the 5? You know, because I'm hardly going to make it. So, you know, I'll be like, Tracy, why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you force me to go to church with you?
I was listening to this comedian this weekend. She was raised up in the church and she's kind of stepped away from it now. And her parents told her the other day, she's like over there and they were telling her about how she's going to hell.
Oh.
And she says, what they really mean is I love you and I care about you, because that's the way they think. But apparently there's only so many ways to say I love you, and you kind of get tired of that. So then you start telling, you're going to hell.
You're going to hell.
So my dad just says, how's that car doing? That's the way he says I love you. My mom says, you're going to hell. That's what she says. So anyway. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I worked myself up into a lather over demons as a kid.
Yeah.
Man, my mom would talk about them, dude.
Yeah.
And she would sit us down and cast demons out of us regularly.
Oh, regularly.
She had a whole list.
Okay. She had their names and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
She got them from somebody else. Well, there was like the spirit of rebellion. She always liked to harp on that one quite a bit.
Yeah. The spirit of rebellion.
Yeah.
Because rebellion's a spirit that jumps in your body and
it's not a lack of character. It's not a decision to be bad. It's a demon. And so, you learned really quick that you could blame almost anything on the demons.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. You can't.
Devil made me do it.
I need an exorcism. That's what I need. I don't need 2 weeks in my room, no television. I need Tam and Faye to bless me with those beautiful eyes. And,
you know how my mom got the spirit of rebellion out of us?
With a whoop down?
It was called the rod of correction. It's a paddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got all that too. Trust me.
I got. I had the spirits cast out of me before.
Drive them right out.
Yeah.
Right. One time I was getting an exorcism, and my my mom pulls out a paddle, and so I just jumped off a cliff.
What?
I just jumped off a cliff into the water.
It's a Jesus reference.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were on all fours and you were squealing?
I was.
Like a swine?
There's this book called Pigs in the Parlor. Have you ever heard of that book? It's an old book, and it has the scariest cover, because it has this close-up drawing of an eyeball, and inside the eyeball are 2 pigs, 2 big faces, and they are evil. Pigs in the Parlor is a story about demonic warfare. And it's the scariest book. It even opens by saying the devil does not want you to read this, and the demons will try to stop you. And I was like, I'm stopping now.
I'm kind of scared now. And I'm glad I have this camera, because I can make sure nothing's behind me.
But it goes in deep on demonic influence and all this. And this was way before this present darkness, where we made it entertaining to have demons around,
Well, because it was a battle, it was about fighting them.
And then, right before that, Carmen was having demon fights and stuff.
Right.
Too.
The witch's invitation.
That's
That's
that
right.
never happened. He never went to a witch's house. He made that whole thing up.
I thought that was supposed to be based on another person's story.
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
That they showed off all these clippings of things that they had made happen in the world. Yeah. No, I don't believe in witches.
You see this man? I cursed him. Something else happened. We did a human video to that song when I was in high school.
We did it to the Champion.
Yeah, we did that one too.
Oh, everybody did the Champion though. Human videos. That's what they call them.
That's what they call them now.
They still do them?
Yeah, they do. It's like a big fine arts, in our denomination. They still.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know of any. Anyways, I won't harp on it, but I don't know of any churches that actually use that as a ministry tool.
No,
but
just
it's a big deal in fine arts. Let me tell you.
Yeah, let's go out and do one of those in the streets.
Yeah. It's just not like that anymore. It's different age. Sorry, I don't mean for all of you AG folks out there. Don't get upset with me. I was just
we're former. Sort of former AG people. So anyway, Julia writes the menu mishap from Columbus, Georgia. Now that I got all my demon jitters out. During a dinner outing with 4 other couples, my wife and I were at a Thai restaurant where the menu items were identified by numbers, and patrons were expected to order by these numbers. But I was in a playful, possibly racist mood.
What?
I'm just saying it.
Did you add that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I read this story, And I don't think it was on purpose, Julia. I'm not saying you're a racist. I'm saying accidentally.
Everybody's a racist, James. I thought you knew that. Everybody.
Everybody uses erasers. And that's
Yeah.
different.
That's an eraserist. I'm sorry.
Yes. The confused server with her limited English repeatedly sought a number from me. Clearly searching for a numbered order. Persisting, I requested their specialty. She eventually went to finally place the orders. Shortly after, everyone's meals arrived and each person was presented with a full appetizing plate. However, when it was my turn to be served, I was presented with a teapot and a teacup accompanied by the server's cheerful declaration, "Our specialty."
A specialty.
Indeed, she had followed my request to the letter. This amusing misunderstanding provided a hearty laugh for my group and left us with an enduring tale. Julia, I didn't believe your story. So I looked it up on the internet. I'm like, surely this has been made up on the internet, and she stole it and she cut and pasted it. I could not find it anywhere.
What?
No one has ever made this joke.
So this is original.
Actually happened.
You thought that she, and you almost convinced me.
Perfect.
It is perfect.
But it is real. This
specialty.
She never, I mean, this is her story. There is no other story out on the internet like this. There is nothing. I searched broad and wide with many keywords. This is Julia's original.
That's awesome.
Happened to her story.
You heard it here on That Story Show.
But when people have limited English, you should order by numbers, not try to be cute.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to order by numbers because I don't speak any different language.
Whatever. You're trying to be defending the audience again.
Well, I just point to the place on the menu. I don't know how to say that right there.
Yeah.
It's got too many vowels and consonants.
Well, there's a reason
and
they
shapes.
put numbers in there, because they don't speak very good English. And you can either take advantage of that, or you can say, you know what? That's cool. Welcome. We're glad. Because people get all bent out of shape about people not speaking the language. But all it takes is one generation between a family that doesn't speak the language and a family that does. Just one generation. So chill out, white people. Anyway, don't get me started.
Now, this isn't Julia's from Columbus. I want to go to that restaurant now. It can't be too far from me. Columbus? Yeah, no, it's not. That's near me.
Oh, wow.
I want to go down there and find a Thai restaurant.
Stalkers.
Order specialty.
We have a Thai restaurant that we go to regularly. It's really nice. Got great pad Thai.
Yeah,
but
I think you took us there.
It's called pad Thai.
Pad Thai, yes.
And so when you search for pad Thai, it sends you every place that serves pad Thai in the city. So we had to memorize the strip mall that it's in. It's called Lamplighter Square. And so I tell Google, give me directions to pad Thai in Lamplighter Square, and it knows exactly what I'm talking about. But it was a problem. We got some middle school drama, though.
Move out of the way, stupid.
All right, this one's called Bear Battle, and it comes to us from Marshall from Mobile, Alabama.
Alabama?
That's about as Alabama as you can get right there.
That's down on the coast, right? Mobile.
It says, this is the best middle school story you will ever hear. I was at youth one night after pizza enjoying my ice cream sundae. Well, this thing is, I didn't have any gummy bears because from an experience at summer camp. They become rocks anyways. I'm eating my ice cream, laughing with my friend, pretending to vote each other out in Among Us. With my smashed red cut, I feel a pain in my side. I look where the menace hit me and I saw a gummy bear. I realized one of my friends throw a gummy bear at me, though I asked them, but they denied it. I looked around all the girls' table behind us, the high schoolers diagonal from us. My back was to the girls' table, by the way. Then, there's no punctuation. Then, like in the perfect fashion, I hop up and see two boys who are kind of troublemakers. Us giving the good kids suspected it was obviously them. I marched over to that table and said in the voice I have, were you throwing gummies at me? I see they have a napkin full of gummy bears lying out. And in true homeschool fashion, I says, are you sure? They were going to say, oh, wait, we did throw it at you. They responded, yes, we are sure. I said, okay. And I went back to my table after a couple minutes. I got hit again in the side. I look over and the boys' gummy bears are gone. There's just a lumpy napkin. I had no suspicion of as I got hit. I had ice cream on its way to my mouth. I dropped it on the floor. Now I was flipping annoyed because, yeah, you can hit me once and I'm fine. Shame on me, but hit my ice cream. Shame on you. I marched over to the napkin area to clean up the mess and told the person in charge. She said she'd keep an eye out. I cleaned it up. And then after a couple of minutes, I felt another land on my back. The nice boy next to me said, I saw them throw it. When the words left his mouth, I was already out of my seat, marching over to those boys. We both said, I saw you, he saw you, overlapping our voices. The person in charge let us let's call her Lisa, came and said, it was you. They replied, we don't even have any gummy bears. They said in their defense. I looked at the napkin and yanked it up, revealing gummy bears all over the table. The bigger one said, it was his idea. Miss Lisa said, as punishment, you can have all the gummy bears and throw them at the smaller one's face. He can't dodge. One detail left out. When the gummy bears fell on the table, I started yelling, exposed, you're exposed, over and over. The high schoolers were like, ooh, you're exposed. Half making fun of me, but mostly making fun of him. No, they were making fun of you. They were totally making fun of you because you're a homeschooler and you didn't know what exposed meant. Anyway, the whole room went quiet. I gathered the gummies and took my first pitch and chucked them, and I felt like Buddy the Elf. I yelled, take your mouth, open your mouth, eat it, take it like a man. All the people in the room were laughing hysterically, and I threw them all. I promptly sat back to my seat and grinned in satisfaction. Hope this makes it on the show. Bye. Also proofread this and fix grammar. LOL. No.
Too much work.
You can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. So, man.
Marshall.
Okay, so
Marshall
before
Mobile.
we move forward,
There's so much to unpack there.
there's so much. There's a whole story within the story, and the reason why I made it on is because he said you're exposed,
You're exposed.
and he didn't even know what he meant. But
Well, I think he kind of had it right. Yeah.
yeah, right. But it's
But
like,
nobody uses that term.
okay, so there's a Q word that
Yeah.
we used to use back in middle school, right?
Yeah.
And then it became a no-no to say. And now people are starting to say it again and
Like-
describe themselves with this Q word.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go any deeper than that, but I used that word because it means weird in my homeschool brain.
It did, right.
And I was telling some friends about my stepdad and his brothers. And
Yeah.
they were in a photo together, and the oldest kid was the shortest, which was my stepdad. And the youngest boy, there was like 5 of them, was the tallest. And they were in line from oldest to youngest, but shortest to tallest. And I said, yeah, my whole family, my dad's side of the family is queer. It's just so queer.
Mhm.
And they're like, what?
Did you hear what you just said?
Come here and tell your story over here. And I
Yeah.
thought I had the funniest story, and I was using the Q word over and over
Yeah.
and over. How queer was your dad's family, James? Oh, very, very.
So, yeah.
So anyway,
So
I thought I would take a
strange.
moment and really explain what we're looking for in a story. Okay.
Oh.
I wrote this up as an article, so we're going to review it real quick. Generally clean. This is a question you need to ask yourself. Is your story generally clean? Because we're
Generally.
clean for ages 13 and up. We don't swear. We don't share explicit content. Gross, painful, stupid, and juvenile, we're good with. Is your story well written? Did you do your best? Some errors are fine, but if you don't put it in the effort, we won't put it in either. Is your story short enough to be read in 3 to 5 minutes? Don't send us a wall of words. We can't use your story if it's long, no matter how funny it is. Is your story true? Don't grab a story off Reddit. Don't make something up. We will know. You can tell a story that your dad told you and stuff like that, but it needs to be something that happened to you or someone you know. And lastly, is your story funny? Any story can be funny. It's all about how you tell it. Don't be afraid to exaggerate. Share how you felt in the moment. Wrap it up with a moral, a lesson you learned. All these things will make your story better. Also, submit only one story a week. We'll never read more than one story per person per week. If you have more than one story to share, share one per week. Otherwise, they get passed over in our system. Tell the whole story. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you fall down and bust your head open, that's the middle of the story. The end is what happened after that. Don't write middle school drama versions. Write how you write. We'll decide who's worthy of the middle school drama designation. Don't submit your story more than once. If it's been a while and your story hasn't been used, there is a reason. Sometimes it's because they aren't funny, but most of the time it's because it's been used on stuff that didn't fit on the show. Some of them are too long. They're in line waiting their turn, but submitting the same story will not improve your chances. Frequently asked questions. When will you read my story? If your story is selected, we'll read it when the time comes. It could be a month. It could be more. There are people that have waited up to 8 years for their story to appear on the show. How will I know when you read my story? If your story is chosen for the show, we will send a message via email that you submitted it to let you know. Can I ask why my story wasn't chosen? No. We're not here to hurt people's feelings. We try to use every story we get, trust me. But if it didn't get read, it's because of one of the issues above. Will you help me write my story? No, we don't have the time. If you do your best work and it just needs a little help, we will help. But we will try to make it the best fit for the show possible. Still have questions? Email James at james@nlcast.com. So now go submit a story because we need stories badly.
That's a PSA, by the way, right?
Yeah, we need stories. We're pretty much out. Everybody's sending in stories for the wedding show, which is always my fear when we do theme shows. Every story that comes in is a theme show story. So if you start hearing wedding stories next week, it's because we didn't get your stories. If you've been waiting to get your story on the show, this is the week. All right. So anyway, we have one more story to go. And this one is from Lori. And it's a voicemail. And here it goes.
Hey, James and John. This is Lori from Texas.
Hey.
As my husband and I were traveling in the car, I was explaining to him about your fun podcast. I was explaining that the premise of many of the stories submitted were from middle schoolers and the crazy things they do. My husband just started laughing and recalled a time when he was in middle school. His parents were out. He was a little bored in his bedroom, as this was before video games were available, and of course kids never had TVs in their room. He decided it would be a good idea to shoot fireworks out of his window. To his surprise, the fireworks threw off sparks and melted a spot in the carpet.
Uh-oh, you're dead.
His parents were not easily amused, so the panic ensued. He quickly rearranged the furniture so his bed covered the spot of melted carpet. The hole was not discovered for several years, only after he went to college. Here's a short poem for you. Fireworks shot off in a bedroom throw off sparks of red. The sparks may melt the carpet, so cover it with your bed.
She made her own recap song.
Put it to a tune.
She did it. She did it with a poem. And this is what I want to become normal. Okay. I want everybody who submits a story, if you can, write a 2-sentence recap song on the end of it. That would be so freaking amazing. Can't believe she did that. That made my day. Absolutely made my day. Write your story and then write a recap. I don't know.
I liked it.
Oh, anyway.
So well told, too.
We got a couple of announcements. Halloween stories, scary stories, best costume contest, all coming up very soon for our Halloween episode. So you've got a little bit of time to get your Halloween stories in. Send them. You have a scary story, somebody scare you, you scare somebody else. And best costume contest, James, what do you mean? All you got to do is email us at thatstoryshow.com and tell us the best costume you ever wore. And we will pick one and we will send you something. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll pick like maybe the top 3 best costume ideas that you ever, and make sure it's real. And if there's a story to go with it, send the story. But we will have an online first ever on a podcast costume contest that we'll never see. So share it with us. Go to thatstoryshow.com, click on submit a story, #Halloween. We got stickers, keychains, and hats available at merch.thatstoryshow.com. We even have a Bats shirt that we re-released.
The cute bat,
Yes, the cute bat's out there again. So
I like
get it while it lasts.
It's a hoodie too.
Yep. Wedding theme show, November 21st. #wedding. Get your stories in. We've got so many, John. It might be 2 episodes worth. I'm telling you.
Nice.
And we might have to move it up. We might have to move it up to now. This podcast is possible because of our supporting listeners on Patreon. Supporting listeners get ad-free listening, swag, and a weekly bonus podcast. Try it out free for 7 days at support.thatstoryshow.com. And I know a lot of our listeners are middle schoolers and you don't have money of your own, but you know what? Your birthday's coming. Christmas
take out
is
a
coming.
loan.
Yeah, you just tell mom and dad, I want ad-free listening. I want bonus content. I want to become a supporting listener on patreon.com. Go to support.thatstoryshow.com. Try it for free for 7 days. I love no commercials being a supporter, says Beth. This is the only podcast I finally support out of the many that I listen to. Anytime I hear a commercial on the other podcasts, I get annoyed, but I love this show enough to support. The bonus content is a plus as well, Beth. Thanks to our
Beth.
producers, James Spangler, Carrie Wright, and Christopher Tynan. Guys, it's time to get out of here. Do you have a story you'd like featured in a future episode? I'm sure you do. Submit your story at thatstoryshow.com where you can type it or talk it. And while you're there, join our mailing list for the latest updates. Please take a moment to leave a review on iTunes or Spotify. And remember, when something weird, annoying, embarrassing, or painful happens to you, don't get stressed, don't get depressed, don't call up a demon. Just think, hey, this belongs on That Story Show. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, John.
Bye, James.
All right. Gotta leave them demons alone.
Stay far away.
Let's see what we got today. I will never forget the way she peed on the floor. Italian ice was wanted, so she made a little more. Demons make good stories till you're out there in the dark and someone sees 2 glowing eyes. Your undies now have a mark. When ordering by number, it's important to remember that they do it because they couldn't understand what you had told her. Specialty? Being cute, you see? What that gets you, B, is some specialty. I'm in middle school and I lose my crap at you. Throw a gummy bear at the back of my head. What do you want to know? What that'll make me do? I'll tell on you, you crazy fool. You'll never see it coming like Scooby-Doo. You're exposed. You're exposed. Well, you're kind of sort of supposed to know what you're saying, but you don't because you're homeschooled. And that's really funny because that means you're home fooled.